We wanted to document the history we have uncovered about our house at 1129 Floyd Avenue in Richmond, Virginia's historic Fan District. William Miller bought this parcel of land in 1862 in what was known as Sydney in the county of Henrico. The lot is huge by fan standards, 100 feet wide by 139 feet deep. Let's move on to the house. Miller built a modest interpretation of a Greek Revival structure, modest because it's clapboard and not stone, and its modest size. The gable faces the street, complete with dental molding, emphasized with more trim, significant moldings making up an entablature, and the porch features broad Doric columns, further defining the style. The original house is the two-story structure, completed in 1869. Originally it had shutters. The shutter pins are still there, but the shutters and shutter dogs were long gone when we purchased the home in 1994. We rebuilt the porch, relying on composite decking since old-growth pine is hard to find. We replaced the porch roof with copper and added copper downspouts at the porch and from the built-in gutters, which were relined. We added the handrails by the front steps, and we contracted with Creative Contracting to take the original siding back to bare wood, quarter-sawn southern yellow pine clapboards, apply a high-quality primer, and high-quality top coats. The original front door was gone. In its place, a previous owner had installed an interior door as the front door. We found this one, which seemed to match the proportions of the side lights at Caravati's here in Richmond. The door configuration is also defining the Greek Revival style, an entry door surrounded by rectangular transom and side lights, never rounded like in a federal configuration. A few more comments about the outside before we move inside. The landscape design was developed by Allie Baird, a landscape architect here in Richmond. Our goal was to create gardens in keeping with the farmhouse feel of the property right in the center of this urban area. The landscaping was installed by Shipp & Wilson and has been tweaked over time to create an almost maintenance-free environment. We installed landscape lighting and an irrigation system. When we purchased this house, the brick pillars and base defining the front property line were here, but only a chain was draped between the columns. Initially, Mike built a wood picket fence to go between the columns. When we finally had the means, we hired Kevin Daly and Tom Chenoweth to fashion the iron sections, incorporating the creek key design to harken back to the Greek Revival style of the house. We have a stone patio with a fish pond and a brick patio too. Once inside, you'll notice we kept the original doorbell, and we installed a battery-operated one to be able to hear it at the rear of the house. The staircase is original, and originally the living room was divided from the foyer by a long wall with a tiny 32-inch door as an entrance. The wall was load-bearing. We installed a support beam, the columns, and Mike fashioned the woodwork trim in his workshop. The ceiling medallion is original, and the original light fixture was operated by both gas and electricity. We removed the old gas pipe when we opened up the wall. We eliminated the old wiring and updated it, added new fixtures and spotlights, recessed cans. When we removed layers and layers of wallpaper and paint, we discovered there had previously been crown molding in the living room and dining room. We replaced it with molding of comparable size and scale. We chose a simple design to complement the ceiling medallion. William Miller was a marble carver, proprietor of Rogers and Miller Marble Company, which operated at 510 East Main Street here in Richmond. The mantels in this house were probably carved by Miller for his home. His work can also be found in Hollywood Cemetery. Notice the pear shape in the keystone of the mantel. Mike made a mold from it and then created a plaster image that he applied to the keystone of the archway to the living room. We worked with the Victorian fireplace shop to replicate the coal fire with gas coals. We closed in a door between the living room and dining room once we opened up the foyer. We felt it was no longer necessary. The powder room here took the place of a closet. The tiles on the wall are recycled glass subway tiles. Before we head to the dining room, let's go upstairs. A previous owner, Virginia Tyack, prepared the paperwork to nominate the house to the National Register of Historic Places. As far as we know, she never submitted the nomination form. In it, she describes this room, originally painted pink, as an upstairs parlor with 2 small bedrooms off it. There was also a door between this room and the bedroom next door. William and Betty Miller had 2 children, James and Eva. The 2 small rooms would have been their bedrooms, about 9.5 feet by 9 feet, just big enough for a twin bed and maybe a chest. One of those rooms had already been converted to a bathroom, which we ultimately decided to renovate to include a shower and whirlpool tub, a full gut. This very large room, where this king-size bed is, has its own ensuite bathroom. The marble mantel was never over a fireplace. When we renovated, we found a circular hole into the chimney for a coal stove. We added crown molding in here, sconces, new electrical. In addition, this room has its own thermostat for air conditioning and heat, as well as its own return, allowing this room to be individually controlled with its Nest thermostat. We divided the other little room that would have been one of the children's rooms in half to create a walk-in closet for each bedroom on this level. This room, the navy blue room, would have been Miller's master bedroom. We added the crown molding, updated electrical, installed the paneling behind the queen bed. This room has the other half of the small room that became a walk-in closet. This house was built before plumbing, so when water and sewer became available, this bathroom would have been installed. We had the original clawfoot tub reglazed, closed up the original doorway to borrow some room from the hall to accommodate a separate shower, another total gut and new plumbing job, and opened up a doorway from this room to create another ensuite situation. This room too has its own thermostat, return, and vents, allowing it to be individually controlled with its Nest thermostat. A quick story. We had a frequent guest from Boston who stayed with us regularly. After 11 years of fighting leaky old windows, even though we rebuilt them, weather stripped them, and loved the old wavy glass, we had Anderson replacement windows installed in the old house while she was at work. The next morning, she asked what we had done because there was no longer street noise and no drafts. I told her about Anderson replacement windows. She went back to Boston and replaced her windows with Anderson windows too. The wood floors up here are all original southern yellow pine. Let's go downstairs to the dining room. Here again, Anderson replacement windows like in the living room and upstairs. What we loved about them is they replicate exactly the windows that were here in terms of the amount of glazing. We lost no window area to oversized vinyl sashes. This fireplace was closed when we purchased the house to provide exhaust for the water heater and gas heat. We had this one relined. Again, a marble mantel by William Miller. We added the crown molding, ceiling medallion, and chandelier. The light fixtures were all gone when we bought this house. We kept all the plaster walls we could, stripping layers of wallpaper, patching and repairing as necessary. The floors in the foyer, living room, dining room, and butler's pantry are original. The butler's pantry cabinets are custom, built by Mike out of walnut, and feature a second dishwasher. The dish pantry is off the butler's pantry and has trapdoor access to the basement area, where you'll find utilities including 4-zone HVAC, a water heater, and a whole house water filter. The garden room is probably my favorite room in the house. When we started, it was 2 little rooms with a little window overlooking the garden. One had been converted to a kitchen, the other a small den. We removed the wall dividing the 2, installed oversized French doors with side lights to permit access to the garden, and Mike built the bookcase cabinets and installed the trim. We had to install new flooring here. Previous renovations had demolished the original floors. The wall here that backs up to the dining room is now drywall. We removed this plaster to be able to update electrical throughout the house. We had blown-in insulation installed, and this concludes the 1869 portion of the house. The original portion of the house had a slate roof. Slate roofs last about 100 years. In 2007, we replaced the roof with a recycled rubber product that looks like slate but reduces the load on the roof by 90%. Over time, houses grow and a family's needs change. We found the F.W. Beers map of Richmond, dated 1875, that shows the footprint of the house. It shows a small addition at the rear of the house. We know it was constructed after the original house because there were clapboards inside the wall. A former owner, Cecilia Brooks, told us her husband Hunter moved the kitchen from this location to the small room in the older structure. Flooring here is new, as is the window. The window had not been properly supported, so Mike rebuilt and resupported the bay window. The basement crawl space below gave rise to rumors that this house was part of the Underground Railroad. The space below was accessed by a trap door in the floor, easily covered by a carpet, and has a fireplaces that use the same chimney as this one. But since the house wasn't completed to 1869, the timeline doesn't seem to work. The trapdoor was covered by the new flooring. The house pretty much stayed the same for many years. A plat from 1941 shows a porch shaped like an L overlooking the original well house. As we mentioned earlier, the house was built before in-house plumbing was available. In the west kitchen garden is the gazebo shaped well house. It had deteriorated terribly. We rebuilt it using contemporary materials, but saved the granite perfectly level stone base with an off-center hole to accommodate the bucket that had been lowered and raised by the wooden wheel. We kept the wheel, we kept the original hand-carved rafters, and added a copper roof and finial, found a wooden bucket, replaced the lattice and panel base. As an aside, we found a wooden baluster in the attic. We assumed it had been crafted to create a railing on the front porch, but it had been removed. We crafted a railing for the kitchen door stairs as well as the deck off the garden. Sometime after 1941, a bedroom, closet, and bathroom were added for an elderly resident who had difficulty going upstairs, and that space had a flat roof. We worked with Robert Winthrop, an architect who lived in the Fan but now practices in Farmville, to develop an addition and reuse sensitive to the history of the house but meeting our needs as we moved into the 21st century. He suggested converting the bedroom and bath into the kitchen, creating a small den adjacent, and building an addition to house a master bedroom, bath, laundry, pantry, and garage. As construction started, we discovered the exterior walls where the flat roof had been had rotted and needed to be rebuilt. Several roof rafters were kept as ties. The roof was rebuilt as a gable with a copper cricket against the old house to prevent future issues. We added new windows, skylights, new plumbing, new electrical, new appliances, new granite countertops, new cherry cabinets, saved the pine floors where we could, and tied new oak floors in where we needed to. Now, the addition we added. First, there's an oversized walk-in food pantry. Continuing down the hall, you turn left and you'll find the first floor master suite with bathroom, large bedroom, and ample closets. This bathroom has its own Rinnai on-demand hot water heater. Next is the laundry room with a door to the rear garden. We have a 20-pound dog, so we also have a dog door for her to go out into what we call the puppy yard. The garage is a 2-bay garage with workshop. The workshop could be converted to a 3rd bay, could be used as storage, or could be converted to an office space. The whole house beam vacuum is housed in the garage, and the garage is accessed from North Morris Street, has a paver driveway serving as off-street parking for up to 3 cars. Over the garage is a space we use as an office or TV room. It too has a bathroom and could be used as a 4th bedroom. The huge south-facing roof of this area could accommodate solar collectors if one were so inclined. So that basically tells you a little bit about what we have done to 1129 Floyd Avenue since we purchased it in 1994. Thanks for listening.